distance that you could easily sort out by walking. So look when we go to Geneva. If you want to walk to the United Nations from wherever you are, even from your hotel, there's provision for that. And sorry, my friend Professor Jaldesa is here. We visited each other's hotels by walking. Those are the things that make sense. And Mr. Speaker, one of the values of these walkways is, of course, that it increases our health. You know, many of these problems that we have today is the fact that we sit all the time. We have been sitting since this afternoon in this house, and we were sitting in the committee. If you do not get an opportunity to walk, your health therefore suffers. We should introduce a way in which we keep our country safe. Because you see, if you introduce this, things like diabetes, things like high blood pressure, things like getting excess cholesterol will be sorted out because you have a way. And don't forget that cycling is actually one of the sports that keeps a person healthy. Now, I cannot ride a bicycle, Mr. Speaker, because I am a well-behaved boy. In my village, the only person who had a bicycle was my uncle. And my uncle, if you did not touch his bicycle, then you are a good boy. But you see, I missed out on that. But I see people looking very, very healthy because they ride a bicycle. And this is one of the ways that we keep ourselves very, very healthy. Let us try and organize these cities of ours so that they don't just look safe, they also give us our health, but they also look nice. I was looking at some pictures of Addis Ababa in Africa. Even in Africa, Mr. Speaker, it's doable. And Kenya has always been a leader in arranging its cities properly. I realize my friend, the mover of the bill, has paid some attention to devolution, and said that the county governments should do something about it. And I really wish they do these things, Mr. Speaker, because the first duty of a county government is to keep its towns to be clean and organized. I don't know why they are not doing it. And I don't know whether this bill will have teeth enough to force them to do it. Because, Mr. Speaker, who else will go and keep our cities, our towns, away from Nairobi, away from Mombasa, away even from Kisumu or Nakuru? Who will go to the towns to make them happy cities for people who are not inside motor vehicles? Mr. Speaker, these are things we have to understand. And the Honorable Esuda has said something which I always wonder. We go to those countries to benchmark. But what do we bring back other than awe and consternation of saying, look at how they have progressed? And we have made it look like our countries cannot actually achieve those things. This bill will make us achieve, because urban planning, apart from addressing security and health and so on, must also address the simple issue of livability. That I live in a nice neighborhood. I live in a nice neighborhood where things are well organized. Long ago, Mr. Speaker, Plainsview used to be in Nairobi a very, very good place. And when you go to a bus, to go on the Kenya bus service, on board the bus to Plainsview, you had to queue. I realized one person came and wanted to rush away from, wanted to break the queue. And somebody asked him, when did you last move away from Kibera? Because in Kibera, things like that were acceptable. But today, Mr. Speaker, mention one neighborhood which can claim to have good order in this country that actually keeps its queue, because courtesy driving in Kenya is not a practice. Nobody wants to leave space for anybody else, and everybody is in a problem. Let us therefore say this, Mr. Speaker. Apart from managing our cars, let the law force the government, after some time, to keep to give space, separate space for pedestrians, separate space for cyclists, so that we can be able to enjoy the blessings of a good country. Mr. Speaker, I wish to congratulate my colleague, Honorable Naisula Lesuda, for this bill, and I commend it to the House and say, let's support it and let's make it a reality.
The Honorable Timothy Toroitich, the Member of Parliament for Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very, very important bill. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I wish to thank the Honorable Naisula Lesuda for such a progressive piece of legislation. For sure, Samburu West sent the very best to this Parliament. Honorable Speaker, this bill, in a nutshell, seeks to designate tracks for non-motorized transport for existing roads and new roads in this country. Honorable Speaker, when I was sitting here, I tried to find out the definition of a road within the existing Kenyan legislation, and whether the issues that have been mentioned here are catered for in other legislations. Honorable Speaker, so the question that begs, what is a road under the current legal Kenyan context? Honorable Speaker, under this current, under the statute that we propose to amend, that is the Kenya Roads Act. If you look at the definition of a road, it says a road means a public road as defined under the Public Roads and Roads Access Act, Cap 399. Honorable Speaker, further, if you go and check the definition of that Public Roads Access Act, and these are very old piece of legislation. Actually, Honorable Speaker, the date of commencement of the Public Roads and Road Access Act was 10th of August, 1920. Honorable Speaker, the definition there, I checked the definition and went further to the Traffic Act to check on the definition of roads as provided for under the Traffic Act. Honorable Speaker, under the Traffic Act, it defines a road to mean any public road within the meaning of Public Roads and Roads of Access Act, Cap 399, and includes any other road or way, wharf, car park, footpath, or bridle path on which vehicles are capable of traveling and to which the public has access. So, Honorable Speaker, if under that interpretation or under that definition of a road under the Traffic Act, it includes a footpath, it includes a bridle path, which, if we look at the Black's Law Dictionary to define what a bridle path means, it means a path suitable for riding or leading horses, in brackets, but not cars. So, Honorable Speaker, under this current proposed amendment by the Honorable Member, it talks of creating a designated track for non-motorized vehicles. In my very humble submission, I think we have had a problem because the law is very clear, it has given a very clear interpretation of a road. We have had a problem in terms of enforcing the law when awarding tender, so that a contractor given a road must construct a road as provided for or as defined under the current legislation under the Traffic Act. So that, Honorable Speaker, when a road is constructed, it doesn't mean a road in which vehicles move over. Or, yes, it should include a footpath and also provide access or paths which provide access to non-motorized vehicles. So, Honorable Speaker, I think the problem has been in what we interpret locally or ignorantly as to constitute a road in this country. So, Honorable Speaker, as someone said, we don't have a deficiency of laws in this country. We have laws. The problem is, are we implementing the laws properly, purposively, as provided for under our Constitution? So, Honorable Speaker, but to give clarity, maybe to that provision, maybe to give clarity and proper definition to a road, then this act should be adopted or passed so that we give proper meaning and we assign a proper meaning to that particular provision of the law that has been misinterpreted for quite some time. Honorable Speaker, there are certain issues that maybe when this matter comes to the House, I'll propose an amendment. Under Clause 7 of the proposed legislation, it provides that the Cabinet Secretary may make regulations. In my opinion, we should have it mandatory and replace the word may with shall, so that the CS in charge of transport shall be mandated through legislation to make these particular regulations. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I have consulted the move of the bill under Clause 9, provide that the enactment of these amendments shall take effect in 15 years' time to cater for already existing infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, we cannot wait for 15 years while Kenyans suffer in our roads. We have motorcycles passing on the left side of the road. Sometimes we accuse them, but they have nowhere to pass. The road that is constructed is only meant for motor vehicles. There is no provision for motorcycles. So we cannot wait for 15 years to implement this particular provision, whereas Kenyans are dying on the roads. Honorable Speaker, finally, because we are touching on the roads, I wish, finally, Honorable Speaker, to thank His Excellency the President. When this President took over power, there were so many stalled roads, so many stalled road projects in this country. Honorable Speaker, in my constituency, I had over almost 6 roads. But as we speak, the roads are being constructed, the contractors are back on site, and I think that is something that we must commend this government for. So that even as we pass this legislation, we also call upon those contractors that have resumed to work on our roads to ensure that they are compliant. Even if we have not passed this already, we have a statute, the Traffic Act Cap 403. We have other legislation that provides that a road is not only where the vehicles pass, but also includes a footpath and other access roads for other non-motorized vehicles. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Anthony Oluoch, MP for Mathare.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to thank the Honorable Lesuda for coming up with this progressive bill. This honorable member has dared to dream and design and picture what this country would look like if it put in place what should actually be something that is a basic right for people who use our roads. Not only does this give equal access to the use of these roads, but it gives dignity, because if you look at how our roads are currently designed, it allows people to operate in such a way as to dehumanize and indignify them when you have to have roads where matatus, pedestrians, motorcycles use it interchangeably as if these roads were meant to be used without any design. Honorable Speaker, allow me to begin from the very end, where the bill says that the bill is a money bill. And allow me to thank the current crop, let me say the last 2 or 3 years of the chairship of the Budget Committee. It has been a trend in this House that it is impossible to bring a bill if it connotes or has anything where it says this is a money bill. And this is a house where it is under Article 95, among the things that we do, would be to legislate, not only to represent people and to solve problems affecting the people that we are elected by, but also it is a budget-making house. But we have had budgets, self-imposed impediments to lawmaking, supposedly because it will have a money bill, because it is a money bill. I have had 2 bills in the last parliament which I had to abandon because I was told it will occasion the exchequer or the taxpayer money. How much money or value would you put in terms of saving or fiscal space, this or that, to the number of people we lose in our roads because of the design question? You cannot place a monetary impediment to it. And so I want to thank not only the honorable member, but also the progressive leadership that we've had and have appeared before the Honorable Watandi with the money bill. And the last chair, Honorable, remind me of the member for Kiharu, when I had a bill that excluded over 3 million children of this country, coming mostly from informal settlements, by mere virtue of the limited definition under the Basic Education Act that classifies education as being public and private. Yet there are people in informal settlements, over 3 million of them, whom we cannot account for because of that definition. And when I appeared before them, they were audacious enough to say that even though it would occasion money to the exchequer, they would nevertheless have it, and these bills fall into that category. Honorable Speaker, I am an ardent user of the gym, not because I prefer to stay in the gym for those long hours. If you ask me, I would prefer to take long walks, sometimes even 3 hours, because not only does it help you keep fit mentally and physically, but it is my way of unwinding in the kind of difficult jobs that we have as members of parliament. And this is the moment that I have to myself. But we do not have roads that are friendly to these kind of things that you would use without risking being hit by a motorcycle, being mugged because you're carrying a phone. And Honorable Speaker, I can give you a personal experience that I had on Gong Road in one of those long walks. And that must have been the last time that I decided to take my 1-2 hours walk. I had just returned from a trip where I went to represent this house. And I had an iPhone which I had not even spent 3 weeks with. And I was actually listening to the proceedings of this house as I walked, when a motorcycle approached me, and I thought the gentleman was trying to come and speak to me. Kumbe, he was timing this phone. You see? We must have roads that have specific places where you can say, this is a non-motorized person who is walking on 2 feet. Me, myself, and I'm very happy that this definition contemplates me and many ordinary Kenyans as those non-motorized people. Honorable Speaker, I have only 2 other points that I wish to add. When I look at this bill, from clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7, they speak to a design question, asking different state agencies and giving them the obligation to do designs within their jurisdiction that would take into account that it is not only motor vehicles with 4 legs that are supposed to use those particular roads. This tells us that we have had successive county governments, and I want to speak of the counties, where we have blueprints that should have done and ought to have done the things that the honorable member now has brought in this bill. These design questions calls us not only just to have this law, but to call these people to a conference. We must have a conference in which this country sits and decides, how do we want our roads to look like? I want to thank this current government because we have now what you call Nairobi Regeneration, a project that will be funded mostly by the World Bank, in which they have contemplated what the Honorable Lesuda here now contemplates for this country, where you can have a river that you can actually have clean water, people row in a boat and you can come out from Madare and end up in Karen, and on the side you can have a light railway that can pass and still have a place where a motorcycle and a bicycle and somebody who wants to jog can still jog. I had the occasion to look at this design when it was shown to us. And if this is implemented, it would be the first major step to achieve what the Honorable Member has dreamt and contemplated under this bill. Honorable Speaker, the member also spoke to the many, many constructions that you can see around. One is just outside here. Things and places that I thought there was no space to do anything at all in these roads. Right now, as I was driving here with Honorable Jalash, I asked him, what are all these barriers and holdings that have been done all the way from Kenyatta Avenue to the past All Saints Cathedral, all the way to, I think, Milimani. And he told me they are trying to create an overpass where you can pass over from here and end up the other side. And he told me how beautiful that design was. There are all sorts of those designs littered within the city of Nairobi. So this question of limited space being used as an impediment, and I'm happy that the question of money should no longer be an issue, otherwise the budget committee would not have approved this bill. I hope that this House will not place that impediment when the budget already gave the approval to her. I am on the question of design and space. If we wanted to find the space to make sure that the roads can be used by road that are motorized and pedestrians all in equal measure, those spaces, we can find them. The last issue that I want to speak to is Clause 8. I have said that Clauses 3 to 7 speak to a design problem, and we must call ourselves to a conference as a country, both at the national and the county level, to look at these designs. Some of them, Honorable Owundo says, were being implemented and now are gathering dust somewhere. Clause 8 speaks to a culture issue where you would be talking about enforcement. We must call ourselves to a round table and ask ourselves, what is our own culture as Kenyans on how we use our roads? Even if we designed these things, and we should design them in the manner contemplated, we must also have a culture change. We must also change our habits as Kenyans. I want to imagine that you would be in Amsterdam or Netherlands and you would have designated places for bicycles where people use bicycles as the preferred mode, including police officers. I don't know if you have been to any of these places. Police officers would stand and stop you, and he's on a bicycle. That is the preferred. But would we park 1,000 bicycles here and our people somewhere with very... If you put those bicycles in a designated place here, if you had that kind of motorized lanes and places to put these, I am sure that somebody will find that that is a bicycle that he should convert into his own personal use by taking and going to sell. So, Honorable Speaker, for those few and many remarks, I want to support this bill, and I hope that it sees the light of day. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Member of Parliament for Embu County, the Honorable Double N.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. And from the onset, I want to really congratulate Honorable Lesuda on this important controversial bill, the Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill. My former colleague in the broadcasting journey, but today we are in the same house now to do registration, oversight, and representation. Honorable Speaker, the creation of the walkways, the pathways on our roads, especially in our counties, will not only bring sanity on our roads, It will also bring an end to many accidents that happen now and then in our counties. And so when this bill has been brought by Honorable Suda, it has come at the right time when we are battling with many accidents, motorists, cyclists, and what have you. And so I really want to congratulate her on this bill that has been brought to this House, and I hope that justice will be brought by the honorable members in this House. Honorable Speaker, I once visited the Netherlands, and I just got shocked on how sanity prevails in that land, in that country, whereby the cyclists, the motorists, they have their own ways and pathways and walkways, where in fact they park their borders, their bicycles along in a designated area, and they actually do the walking by themselves. And so when this bill has been brought to us, Honorable Speaker, to me it is an answered prayer to the many accidents that we have been trying to battle with in our counties and in our villages. And again, Honorable Speaker, even as I support this amendment bill, the Kenya Roads Board amendment bill, I hope that it will also be done justice by the political, by having political goodwill from the political class, so that even as we look forward to its completion and the assignment by the President, it will be an answered prayer in our national, in our 47 counties in this country. Finally, when the pathways and the walkways will be created, Honorable Speaker, it means that we will also be able to have the traffic rights, whereby when the motorist is not on move, the other people are able to take care of themselves through their designated areas. And again, as members of parliament in this House, and even as members of parliament, we will be able to really reduce on the many harambes that we are having every day, on people who have died because of accidents on our roads, through the motorists, the cyclists, the vehicles that have been even pushed to the pedestrian crossing ways. That way, Honorable Speaker, with this in mind, I know things will come to normal. And what I would request, even as I support this bill, is that it be reduced from 15 years, Honorable Speaker, to 5 years for it to be implemented, so that we don't wait for long. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Question is, who owns the cities? The citizens or the vehicles? Let us be upstanding, honorable members. Honorable members, the time being 7:06 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 5th day of August 2025 at 2:30 p.m.